23rd October 2025 and let us start Paripurna Daily Current Affairs discussion. Today we will discuss 7 important articles including 6 prelims article and 1 mains article. Let's start with the first article. It is GEMX. If you remember, we have previously also discussed one of the military exercise. So in the same line here also, the next military exercise is between the Japan and India maritime exercise. Full name is GEMX. We don't have to remember much about this. If we are able to remember Japan India, it's between the Japan and India, that is enough. We don't have to go a lot of detail. Most of the questions, if you know this much only, you will be able to solve. You don't need to remember a lot of detail, like which warship of India participated, INS Sahyadri. That is not important. That much detail remembering is very difficult. And our approach here in current affairs discussion is we have to read only those which is important for exam point of view, even if it is interesting, like the something very interesting fact, but if it is not useful for our exam, then we won't be discussing that. However, when you will read the Paripurna magazine or the PDF, there you will get all the details. If you have the interest on getting more and more interesting knowledge, fact and those things, go for it. You can read by yourself, but here we will be very focused on what is important for exam. Let's go to the next article. Next article is Global Forest Resource Assessment. Global Forest Resource Assessment. From this, you can clearly understand it's global, that is the world report on the forest resource, like the how much forest is currently available, how much degradation of forest has taken place. These all things will be there. Now, what is the context? The context is that the recent in the Global Forest Resource Report, India have achieved the 9th spot. Previously, it was on the 10th spot. Now, it is in the 9th spot. Now, who releases this? These all details we will see, or what are the findings, key findings we will see about this report, that is GFRA. Now, first is that who releases this report? In the previous article only, you must have seen it is released by the Forest Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. UN FAO releases this particular report. Now, second thing we need to remember is the findings. What are the findings of this report 2025? Is particularly with respect to the India. As we have discussed earlier, India is in 9th spot in terms of the area, forest area available in India. It's in the 9th rank. The second fact we need to remember is that India is on the third spot in increase forest area. How much forest area increased annually? In that sense, we are in the 3rd rank. Again, remembering these rankings are not important, but this 9th rank you can remember for the mains answer. Okay. Now, we have achieved this significant milestone, like the 3rd spot. We are improving in the overall area also. Many initiatives taken by the state government as well as the Central Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. For example, Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam initiative. That's one of the flagship scheme, Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. From the statement only, it's clear what it is talking about. At the global level, what we see that one fact is that nearly 50% of the total forest is in the tropics. Tropics means what? We know this is Earth. This is called as the equator, 0 degree, and 23 degree north, 23.5 degree north, and 23.5 degree south. This area is called as the tropics. As you know, sun is here, and most of the heat comes in this particular region. So this region is called as the tropic, and this part, here you have the temperate region and then the polar region. That part you know. So, since the abundance of the sunlight is available as well as the precipitation is high in this particular tropical region, that's why we see that the lot of forest in this region, right? That is the factor. Now, other facts are there, like the around 20% of the forest are legally established under the protected area. You must have heard like the national park. So almost around 20% of the forest is under the legal protection. Okay. Now, what about the degradation of the forest? Yes, there has been the annual forest degradation also, but that degradation compared to the previous decade, like the 1990 to 2000, that much degradation has not taken place. It has reduced mostly because of increase in the forest cover in countries like Canada, China, Russia, US. There we have seen the significant rise in forest cover. So the decline in the forest area overall in the world has been compensated by these countries. Okay, so that is the those are the finding. What is important from our exam point of view is that who releases this report is more important. From the mains here there you can use that what is the India spot. That way you can use these facts. Otherwise, other facts are not very important. Next article is the coronal mass ejection. This article also not particularly directly, but about coronal mass ejection earlier in the previous articles we had discussed this. Now, why it is in the news currently? Currently, it is in the news because of India plays its first space observatory Aditya L1 at Langraj Point. So this concept becomes important, and you got the understanding about the why this particular thing is in the news, why it is important. This particular article from our exam point of view, it is important because it can be asked in the science and technology questions in the prelims examination. In the mains, direct questions would be difficult on the coronal mass ejection, but they can ask on the Aditya L1 and its features. So when you will be discussing Aditya L1 in the mains exam, there also you can mention about this particular concept as well as the Lagrange point. So let us comprehensively discuss this concept, that is the coronal mass ejection and related concept. First, we will discuss one by one, that is what is coronal mass ejection. Previously, in the previous article, we had discussed this. Now we will discuss again this same article. As we know, this sun is composed of the high heat is very high, plus here you have the helium, hydrogen and other gases. Now when the heat is very high, when the heat is very so much high, so millions of degrees Celsius, then what happens is that it produces what? Plasma. This is the fourth state of matter. You know, there is solid, there is liquid, there is gas. If you will provide a lot of heat, it will lead to the next state of matter, that is the plasma. Fifth state of matter is also there when you will reduce the temperature to so low, minus 273 degree Kelvin. At that particular temperature, the state is called as the Bose-Einstein condensation state, right? That is the fifth state, which is also known as the God particle, and some other concept is there. So what we understood from here is that due to the sun heat, there is generation of the plasma. Now when this plasma is released from the sun, the high temperature, plasma is nothing but these the constituent of the sun, which due to the high temperature, it is released. When it is released, this is nothing but the coronal mass ejection. This is coronal mass ejection. So this coronal mass ejection reaches to the planets like Earth and other solar system planets, including the moon. Previous article we had discussed was on the moon. Our Chandrayaan 2 orbiter have observed the coronal mass ejection over the moon atmosphere, right? That was the news in the previous article. Today it is Aditya L1 have detected have placed itself in we have placed Aditya L1 on the Lagrange point 1. So I hope you got the idea of CME, that is the coronal mass ejection. So these are nothing but the plasma which is released by the sun and which reaches to the atmosphere of planets including our Earth. Okay, now Coming to the point, like the okay, we understood plasma is coming to the earth. Now the question is, what would be the impact? What would be the impact of coronal mass ejection if it reaches to the earth? See, impact of the multiple impacts are there. For example, the most important impact is the aurora. Have you heard about the aurora? You must have heard about aurora. It is also known as the northern lights in the Siberian and the northern region, and it is also present in the southern hemisphere too, in Antarctica. Now, aurora, which is also called as the northern and southern lights, it has been asked by the UPSC previously also in mains examination. What it is, when this coronal mass ejection reaches to the north and the south, this is earth, right? This is the northern hemisphere, this is southern hemisphere. Here what is present is that earth magnetic field. Now, as you know, the earth act as a dynamo. Let me explain you it in more detail. See, this is earth, and inside earth, in the core region, there is iron, nickel and other elements. And if you see this iron, nickel, these are the ferromagnetic elements. Metals are there, right? Ferromagnetic. And due to the high heat, there is a generation heat and this ferromagnetism. Due to this, there is the generation of the magnetic field here, right? This is north, this is south. So there is generation of what? Magnetic field. So these are the magnetic field. Now what happens is that when the coronal mass ejection is reaching to the earth, these plasma rays interact with the magnetic field, and here they generate the lights. It excites basically the particles present in this particular atmosphere, and due to that there is generation of colorful lights, which are also called as the northern lights or the aurora. So this is the concept. You see that the coronal mass ejection is interfering with the magnetic field of the earth, and due to that there is generation of what? Aurora. So this is the first impact of coronal mass ejection. The second important point here is that this powerful what you can say, that the coronal mass ejection can impact our power grids. It can impact our power grids. So it can lead to the disruption of the power generation and the power grids. So that is also the important point. Next is the communication satellites can also be impacted due to the coronal mass ejection. So these are the some of the impact of coronal mass ejection. Now the next important thing here is that how this coronal mass ejection is different than the solar flare. Coronal mass ejection versus solar flare. This is the next aspect we need to understand. Now both comes from the outer space to the earth and other planets, but there are some core difference. The key difference here is that the solar flare are nothing but the electromagnetic radiation. The solar flare are the electromagnetic radiation, like the X-ray, light, gamma rays, UV rays. These are electromagnetic radiation. However, the CME, that is the coronal mass ejection, are nothing but the plasma, explosion of the matter in the form of plasma. So that is the core difference here. Core difference is that this is one way is electromagnetic radiation, second is the plasma. Okay. Now the second important difference here is that these are very fast. These are radiation, right? Light. And as we know that it reaches to earth from the sun in 8.3 minutes. However, the plasma comes to the earth in slow manner. So it takes like the 15 hours also, and sometimes it can reach to in 3 days also. So as you see, these are the slower than the solar flare. So that is the another difference between these two light which comes to the earth. Okay, so these were the difference. And lastly the Lagrange point also. Let's discuss this. Lagrange point. What is this L1 and what are these Lagrange point? Lagrange point are nothing but two celestial bodies. For example, this is Sun, this is Earth, this is Earth. Now both have their own pull, right? That is the gravitational pull. Both have the gravitational pull. So suppose we put another element or another body here in between the Earth and Sun. The point in which the force of the gravitational pull of Sun and gravitational pull of Earth becomes equal. So this is the point where the pull of Earth and Sun will be equal. So this point will be very, very stable, and this point is called as the L1 or the Lagrange 1 point. Okay, understood? So this is called as the Lagrange and L1 point. So Aditya L1, which is the satellite placed by the India ISRO, is at this L1 point. That's why it is called as the Aditya L1. Okay, so these are the important facts about this coronal mass ejection and related concepts. Let's go to the next article. The fourth article is on the safe harbor rule under Rule 3.1D of IT rules. Before understanding this particular rule and the safe harbor, what is safe harbor, let me ask you one thing. What will happen if you post something on the Facebook or Instagram which is illegal? You're getting? If let's say suppose a person A is there, this person used the Instagram, and in his account, on his account, this A person puts some post, publish some post. Now this post is illegal, maybe having some anti-national some content or some other illegal content. Now here, who will be the responsible to be sued under the law? Is it the Instagram company who have provided the platform to the A to post such kind of illicit content, or the A who posted in the social media platform? For example, in this case, Instagram will be responsible. So whether A will be responsible or company Instagram will be responsible, that is the major question here. Now the companies like Instagram says that since we have not directly posted it, it is being posted by one person, we are just the provider of the platform. So we should not be legally answerable for any post made by the users of this such platform. Now the rights, and why it is required also, because otherwise what will happen, these kind of companies won't be able to promote their platform and the doing business will almost be impossible. So in order to protect the companies like Instagram, X, Facebook, WhatsApp from the legal liability for anything posted by its user, that legal protection is called as the safe harbor, and it is being provided under IT rule. Under this particular rule, safe harbor means, yes, if any person posted some illegal content, now you won't be responsible. The person who have posted will be legally responsible under the safe harbor rule. So basically it is protecting the organization, the intermediary, social media intermediary. Now here comes a very, very important and important Supreme Court judgment, High Court judgments. A legal case has arrived. There is a government initiative which is called as the Sahyog Portal. Sahyog Portal. Now what is this Sahyog Portal? See, this Sahyog Portal launched by the government by Ministry of Home Affairs. What they do? Basically, they provide the central government and the central and the state agency. The platform is used to issue the blocking order. Issue what? Blocking order. What is blocking order? Blocking means to block a particular content or particular website. So that notices are issued by the government agencies, both central and state, using this portal called as the Sahyog Portal. Now you will say that it's right only, we are blocking those contents which are anti-national or against the law. However, this can be restrictive to the social media intermediary, and rightly, I mean the companies have expressed this concern, and hence the company X, earlier it was Twitter, you know about the Elon Musk company X. X went to the court. X went to the court. Which court? High Court. Karnataka High Court. X challenged it that such kind of restriction is unlawful, and you can say it gives a kind of censorship to the government to restrict the freedom of speech and the ease of doing business, right? So that was the challenge made by the company X. However, here Karnataka High Court, the Karnataka High Court, what Karnataka High Court said is that the portal, Sahyog portal, is not illegal or the unconstitutional, because it is an instrument of public good to combat cybercrime. So what the High Court said, it's an instrument of, this is very important, instrument of public good, because through this government is trying to curb the cybercrime. So it's not completely unreasonable, it's not unreasonable. We cannot provide the social media platform an anarchic freedom. We cannot, it prevent what? Anarchic freedom. What is anarchic freedom? Freedom which do not have any restriction, a kind of anarchic, right? So though we need to provide certain freedom to the intermediaries, social media intermediaries like X, however there should not be the blanket immunity from any kind of legal action against such kind of organizations. So this particular initiative, Sahyog portal, rightly ensures the public interest by protecting them from cybercrime. So that way, this is not illegal. So that was the judgment. Okay, understood this. Now, considering the conflicts here, the government came up with some modifications in the Sahyog portal and the rules under the Rule 3A. Now, there are some rules. Rule 31D. There has been some reforms proposed, like there should be reasonable intimidation. That means there will be the warning, a clear explanation will be provided to the social media intermediaries whenever we are exercising, the government is exercising their power restriction under the Sahyog portal. Now there will be the warning, clear warning will be given, and only the senior officer will issue the such order, like the joint secretary at the central level and the deputy inspector DIG level officer in the state level. Okay, so this was the complete news about the about this safe harbor. Now next article is the person in the news. The person is Eknath Vasant Sinith. Now, who was he? He was one of the renowned person in the space sector. So his contribution in the space sector is very significant. He was one of the pioneer, and he worked with the Satish Dhawan too, and he played very crucial role in Indian National Committee for the Space Research, which later became the ISRO, right? So his role in the in establishing our space program was very significant. Now a lot of detail about him won't be very important for the exam point of view, because this personality is not very popular. We can know about the Dr. Satish Dhawan, but remembering each and every personality coming in the news would be very difficult, and hence here if we know suggested that he was related to the space program. If question arises even in the prelims or mains, we will be able to tackle it. We will be able to tackle it. Please remember, our approach should not be that the every question we have to do it perfectly. That's not possible. Our approach should be, we should be strategic, that in certain area where UPSC is more predictable, where the question can ask, and we should be well prepared, so there we should be trying to get more and more marks. However, the questions which is difficult to remember or the cover a lot of things, we need to learn to tackle such kind of questions, so that we won't get 0 mark in the mains, or if it is asked in the prelims, we should be able to eliminate the options and get the answers. So that should be our approach. Let's move to the next important article, which is related to the collegium system. Now in 2025, UPSC have already asked question on this collegium system, its evolution. Now this concept is again in the news because recently there is an interesting development has happened in this particular issue. The issue of collegium system is not new for us. We know that this is the system of appointment and transfer of Supreme Court and High Court judges. Now there is article 120 124 in our constitution, which provides for the appointment of the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court judges, and article 214 is related for the High Court judges. Now here the system is in our country is that the collegium would be there. What is collegium is nothing but the senior most judges, the Chief Justice of India plus 4 senior most judges. They will recommend the president they will recommend the president the names to be appointed as the High Court judge or the Supreme Court judge. Now remember, this recommendation is binding recommendation. This is very, very powerful binding recommendation. So president have to follow it. Now here definitely the president, if they have some issue, they can return the recommendation to the collegium. However, if collegium again sends the same name to the president have no choice but to accept them, and I mean they cannot reject the recommendation made by the collegium as per the present provision for as per the third judge's case. Now here what has happened is that the Justice Atul Sridharan case. Now what happened is that Supreme Court Collegium recommended Justice Atul Sridharan to be appointed as the High Court Judge of Chhattisgarh High Court Judge. Now here in Chhattisgarh High Court Judge, if Justice Atul Sridharan was appointed there, he would have been the second most senior judge in the Chhattisgarh, second senior most judge. Now in High Courts are also there are collegium. In High Court what happens? Chief Justice of High Court plus 2 senior most judge. Now if Atul Sridharan sir was appointed as the judge of the Chhattisgarh High Court, he would be the member of the collegium of Chhattisgarh High Court. However, due to the interference or due to the objection by the executive later, or that reason later on what happened is that this was objected by the executive, and later what happened is that the collegium changed its recommendation and they transferred the High Court they transferred Justice Atul Sridharan to the Allahabad High Court. Now here the interesting thing is that in Allahabad High Court, Atul Sridharan sir would be the 7th ranker from the seniority point of view. Now he won't be the member of the collegium now. That means he would be having the less power compared to the if he were the member of he were the judge of the Chhattisgarh High Court. Now, the allegation here in the given article is that there is executive interference in the appointment of the judge based on this case, as well as the previously also similar case was observed as per the writer. Now, here for us, what is important, we understood the issue here, but for us, what is important is the collegium system. Collegium system. As I explained earlier, collegium is the group of uh, judges who gives the recommendation to the president to appoint and the transfer the high court and the supreme court judges. Now, here it is the binding judgment. So many times this system is criticized because of lack of separation of power and the doctrine of checks and balance. There is lack of checks over the supreme court in terms of appointment and the transfer, as the executive or the legislature have almost nil role in appointment and the transfer of supreme court or the high court judges. So that has been criticized in terms of violation of doctrine of checks and balance, that is very very important in our Indian constitution. So that's why it is been criticized. So that is the news. Other thing I have already explained about the collegium system, its origin, and its the constitutional provision. Now, next is that the mains lens, that is the mains article. Here we will discuss about the air pollution and India's silent epidemic and its growing toll on the public health. This was the article of the Hindu article, and here why the context is that the air pollution report, the state of global air report 2025, based on it we have again observed that a lot of Indian cities have been featured in top polluted cities of the world. So this, and plus recently after Diwali, we have seen the smoke in the cities like Delhi and other metro cities in the North India especially. And that's why this particular issue came in the news again. Now let's comprehensively discuss this particular article. What are the important findings and what are the issues here? Now the article is on the air pollution. Now let's discuss the first about this report. The report is also important because this is very important report. The report is State of Global Air 2025. The question is, who releases this? It is released by, remember that, Health Effect Institute. They can give here the FAO or the WHO and other institution. We can get confused here. So remember that Health Effects Institute releases this particular report. Now the pollution in India, here in India, is highly significant because due to the high impact of this air pollution in India, it has been termed as the silent epidemic. It has been termed as what? Silent epidemic also, because of its huge impact on our health. As per the WHO and as per this particular report, it has been one of the leading risk factor for the death and disability, because it has been leading risk factor for death and disability. So that's why it is being called as the silent epidemic also. And in India, almost 75% of India's population are living in the areas where the particulate matter 2.5 pm 2.5 particles are exceeding the required level given by the WHO. So this also shows the very difficult situation in terms of the impact of the air pollution in particularly India. The impact of the air pollution is very high in the non-communicable disease, especially the respiratory diseases like the asthmas, lung cancer, diabetes. So the air pollution have the significant impact on the non-communicable diseases. So this also point we need to remember here. Okay, now here there are uh, another impact here is on the vulnerable population. Now, as per the report, the impact on the children and women are higher. Children and women, as women work in the rural household area, in the household where we have the indoor air pollution, the gases released from the cooking fuel, biomass fuel, that also causes the air pollution, which significantly impact women and children who stays in the home for longer time. The other aspect of air pollution is the dilemma. The dilemma. What is the dilemma? The development versus paradox is there. Development versus pollution. As the developmental need requires the countries like India, the lower income countries and middle income countries, to burn coal, and the technology to adopt the pollution free or the low pollution technologies are costly. So the countries like India needs the development which may be polluting also. So establishing a right balance between the development and the pollution, that is the environment, is highly challenge for countries like India and other low and middle income countries. However, this is very important for us. Let's write it as the way forward. Important to curb the this air pollution to achieve the SDG goal, which is nothing but the SDG 3.4. SDG 3.4, it is reducing the non-communicable disease by 1/3. So curbing the air pollution is important to achieve the SDG 3.4. That is, as we know, SDG 3 is related to the health, good and quality health, and 3.4 is to reduce the non-communicable diseases. Now we have the opportunity to save our people from the chronic diseases, impact of the climate change, and thus we can achieve sustainable development goal 3.4 and achieve our developed country by 2047, which is not only the developed in terms of the economic but also from the environmental point of view also. So that way, this important article we had discussed, and I hope you like the video. If you have liked it, please share with your friends who can get benefit out of this discussion, and provide me your feedback on the comment box, like what more you want. We are planning to have the questions also here, the mains question as well as the prelims question related to our discussion. Shortly we will be adding them also in our discussion. Meanwhile, whatever you have, any query, any question, any doubt, any kind of feedback, suggestion, please put that in the comment box. Till now, thank you so much, and we'll meet tomorrow again.